You felt it this morning. That low, quiet dread before you even opened your eyes. A vague sense that something was wrong, that someone was watching, that today might be the day everything falls apart. Nothing had happened. Nothing was wrong. But your brain didn't know that. Your brain was doing what it has always done, scanning, guarding, waiting for the threat that never came. And here is the strange part. That brain of yours is not broken. It is ancient, and it is still living in a cave. The human brain you carry right now is not a modern machine. It is not built for your apartment, your office, your inbox, or your social media feed. It is built for a world that no longer exists. A world of predators and famine and darkness. A world where the wrong decision meant you were dead before morning. Your brain solved that world brilliantly. It is solving it right now, in the middle of a world that looks almost nothing like it. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has described the brain as a kind of time traveler stuck in the wrong era. The architecture that keeps you alive is the same architecture that kept your ancestors alive on the East African savanna hundreds of thousands of years ago. The wiring has not changed. The world has. And that gap between ancient hardware and modern software is the source of nearly every strange, irrational, exhausting thing your brain does to you every single day. Start with your negativity bias. You notice the one critical comment in a sea of compliments. You replay the embarrassing moment from 3 years ago while forgetting 100 good days. You assume the worst. You predict disaster. This feels like a flaw? It is not. It is a survival system so reliable it kept your ancestors alive long enough to have children. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania, including psychologist Martin Seligman, have spent decades studying why negative information is processed faster, remembered longer, and weighted more heavily than positive information in virtually every human brain. The answer is simple. Missing a threat on the savanna meant death. Missing an opportunity meant missing a meal. One of those mistakes was catastrophic. The other was recoverable. So your brain learned, over millions of years, to treat bad news as urgent and good news as optional. That logic made perfect sense in a world where threats were real and immediate. A lion behind that bush, a rival group on the ridge, a storm coming across the plain. Today, your brain runs the same algorithm on an email from your boss, a comment someone made at dinner, a news headline. The stakes are rarely the same. The emotional response is, now think about your stress response. The pounding heart, the shallow breathing, the tunnel vision, the surge of cortisol that floods your bloodstream when you are about to give a presentation, or when you check your bank account, or when you see a notification from someone you have been avoiding. That is not anxiety. That is preparation. Your brain is readying your body to fight or flee. It is pumping fuel to your muscles. It is sharpening your vision. It is shutting down digestion, immune function, long-term planning, everything non-essential, to focus every available resource on the threat in front of you. The problem is, there is no predator. There is a spreadsheet. There is a deadline. There is a conversation you do not want to have. And your body does not know the difference. Physiologist Robert Sapolsky of Stanford University has spent more than 30 years studying stress in primates, and his research makes one thing clear. The stress response is not designed for chronic low-level threats. It is designed for acute, short, physical danger. Your ancestors either escaped the lion or they did not. The threat ended. The cortisol flushed out. The body returned to baseline. Your nervous system never evolved for a world where the threat is always there, always low, always humming underneath everything you do. This is why chronic stress is so destructive. Your brain is running an emergency system as a standard operating procedure, and it is wearing you out from the inside. Think about why you feel calmer in nature. Not just calmer, actually calmer. Heart rate lower, cortisol measurably reduced, attention restored. Scientists call it attention restoration theory, developed by Rachel and Stephen Kaplan at the University of Michigan. Their research found that natural environments restore a particular kind of cognitive resource that modern environments drain. But why? Because forests and rivers and open skies look like the environments your brain was built for. They do not trigger threat detection. They signal safety. They feel like home. Not your home, your deep home. The one your nervous system remembers and your conscious mind has forgotten. Your social anxiety lives in the same ancient system. You walk into a room of strangers and something tightens in your chest. You scan faces. You try to read expressions. You calculate how you are being perceived and whether you are being accepted or excluded. This feels embarrassing or neurotic. It is neither. For most of human prehistory, being excluded from your group was a death sentence. You could not survive alone on the savanna. You needed the group for food, protection, and reproduction. Social rejection was not just painful, it was lethal. So your brain evolved to treat social threat with the same urgency as physical threat. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA has shown that social exclusion activates the same neural circuitry as physical pain. Being left out feels like being hurt because, for hundreds of thousands of years, it was. This is why public speaking terrifies so many people more than death. You are not afraid of speaking. You are afraid of being rejected by the group while everyone watches. You are afraid of exile. Your brain does not know you can survive exile. Your ancestors could not. The fear of missing out that hijacks your phone use is the same ancient drive, translated into pixels. Your hunter-gatherer ancestors needed to know what every member of the group was doing at all times. Status, alliances, resources, threats. Social information was survival information. Now that information comes in a feed, and your brain treats it with the same compulsive urgency it was always designed to. Every notification is a potential piece of survival data. Your prefrontal cortex knows better. Your limbic system does not care. Even your sleep is haunted by ancient architecture. You wake between 2 and 4 in the morning for no reason. You lie there in the dark with thoughts that feel more vivid and catastrophic than they do in daylight. Psychiatrist Thomas Wehr at the National Institute of Mental Health discovered evidence suggesting that before artificial light, humans naturally slept in 2 distinct phases, with a quiet waking period in between. During that window, your ancestors would tend the fire, check the perimeter, listen for danger. Your brain still runs that check. You just do it alone in the dark with no fire to tend and nothing to guard against, rehearsing tomorrow's meeting and every mistake you have ever made. Everything that makes you feel strange or broken or too much or not enough has a reason. It has a reason that stretches back further than memory, further than language, further than anything you could consciously reach. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is solving an ancient problem with ruthless efficiency. The problem is the world changed, and the brain did not get the update. You are not anxious because you are weak. You are anxious because your brain is doing exactly what a brain built for survival is supposed to do. You are not antisocial or emotionally fragile. You are a savanna primate running the most successful threat detection software ever produced, in a world that looks almost nothing like the world it was built for. And here is what that means for today. Tonight, you will lie awake for a moment between sleep and sleep, listening for a threat that is not coming. Your heart will jump at a notification. You will rehearse a conversation that already happened. You will catastrophize something small. And somewhere deep in the layered dark of your own skull, the part of you that survived a world you cannot remember will be doing exactly what it was built to do. Scanning, guarding, keeping you alive for one more day, just like it did this morning before you even opened your eyes.